Hello, welcome to the Cup Night channel. My name is Shane, and today we got another segment of Tarot the News. And yeah, this is the article I will be reading. Hypertension damages brain before blood pressure rises. So yeah, we are dealing with some health-related things today, and yeah, these typically tend to line up with the messages I do for the planetary readings. So I did a moon reading. You might want to check that video out too. Had some information about like health and regenerating stuff like that. So, yeah, this is interesting just based on the title because looking at the moon, it's in Virgo, and Virgo is associated with the sixth house, which is all about health and service, right? So there's definitely an emphasis on health in this. Um, Curious to see where it goes. Before we start reading on the pre-shuffle, I ended up with the Page of Wands. So new ideas. And this article definitely seems to be about new ideas related to hypertension and how it could damage the brain. And then also we have the nectar. To me, this seems to be a reference to blood, right? Because, well, for humans, blood is kind of like our nectar, right? I mean, when we get cut, we bleed. It's the nectar that comes out of us, right? It's our life source, literally. So, yeah, there are these new ideas about the nectar, new ideas about blood, and how it relates to hypertension, pressure, blood pressure in the brain. Okay, so yeah, let's get started. Hypertension begins damaging the brain within days before blood pressure increases enough to be detected through routine monitoring, according to a preclinical study published November 14th in Neuron by Weill Cornell Medicine researchers, or Vail, I'm not sure how you say that, but yeah. The findings challenge conventional understanding of when hypertension starts harming the brain and suggest current treatment approaches may miss a critical window for preventing cognitive decline. We found that the major cells responsible for cognitive impairment were affected just 3 days after inducing hypertension in mice, poor mice, before blood pressure increased, said Dr. Constantino Iadeklo. Sorry, I'm butchering that. I know I am. Director of the Fell Family Brain and Mind Research Institute at Weill. We'll just say Weill Cornell Medicine. Okay, so yeah, right off the bat, there is this discovery, this new idea that damage done by hypertension, which is, as far as I know, a rise in blood pressure. Let's get, just to be clear, let's look up, see what's the, yeah, high blood pressure. High blood pressure is a common condition that affects the body's arteries. It is also called hypertension. If you have high blood pressure, the force of the blood pushing against the artery walls is consistently too high. The heart has to work harder to pump blood. Yeah, so there's this idea of stress and overworking your heart, those kinds of things, and that this kind of consistent pressure can actually have damaging impacts on cognitive functioning um, before the blood pressure even like rises a lot. And this is kind of weird. Like, so there is a critical window for preventing cognitive decline. We found that the major cells responsible for cognitive impairment were affected 3 days after inducing hypertension in mice before blood pressure increased. So that's interesting because this is saying that like you can induce hypertension before you can actually measure it in your body by like measuring your blood pressure, which I don't know how that works. Maybe it'll explain it later in the article, but yeah, it's like this, it's like, in a way, it's like this anticipation of the increased pressure is also damaging, right? It's like this idea of stressing yourself out before there's even any noticeable effects. It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy in a way, is kind of what it sounds like. Um, yeah, interesting. There's an emphasis here on cognition, on your brain functioning, the mind, right? Ace of Swords. These are all thoughts, words, ideas, realizations too. This is a realization here. Let's get one more shuffle. Okay, what else can we know about this pre-stress condition? It's like even the stress before the stress is stressful, right? Oh man. Okay, let's see. This could be a good time. This reading is all just for entertainment purposes only. I'm not a doctor, but the fact that we are discussing this could be a good time to just check, get a checkup. If you have one of those blood pressure monitoring devices at home, just check your blood pressure, see if it's good. And there's also this kind of like idea of just checking in on your stress levels, just that you are experiencing. So Ten of Cups fell out. There is Ten of Cups can represent family. It's also an ideal scenario. So obviously, ideal scenario would be that we aren't stressed out and we don't have hypertension, and our brain isn't being damaged even before we can like measure our blood pressure to confirm that we have hypertension, right? But yeah, there might be something going on in your family with this. I mean, this is a very common thing, especially in the United States. So would not be surprised, right? Oh my god, you predicted that someone in my family deals with hypertension. Oh, yeah, I get it. It's very common. Yeah. That doesn't mean it's not important though, and that there's not valuable information in messages surrounding this. But yeah, Ten of Cups can represent family situations. Let's see what else wants to come out. We'll take those two. On the bottom, we have the Four of Pentacles. To me, this is the body card. It represents our body. This is like our home, right? It's our spiritual temple. So yeah, once again, there's an emphasis on the health of the body in relation to the family. So this reading might not necessarily be for you specifically, but there could be someone in your family dealing with this. Eight of Wands. Ooh, this is like a rush of blood to me, right? Wands are fire. Blood to me is kind of like a fiery substance. It is the life force, like I said, of us. We have to have it, and it has to be in good condition. It has to be able to flow. The Eight of Wands is all about like movement and flow, and yeah, you can see down there it says progress. So there's this idea of movement. Um, so yeah, there's an emphasis on blood flow here, the importance of blood flow. Three of Wands, Voyage, another card of movement, and another Wands card, another emphasis on fire. Fire, fire, fire in all of my readings. I swear, it's like it's usually cups, water, and fire. Water and fire. We did get some earth here too, though. So yeah, this is a card of expansion, and paired with the Eight of Wands, and here we are talking about hypertension. This is an increase, right? An increase in pressure. I mean, really, yeah, Eight of Wands can kind of be seen as some kind of pressure. It's a lot of wands in the traditional depiction. It is all the wands like flying through the sky, almost like arrows raining down from the sky, right? Um, so yeah, there is this increase in pressure, in energetic pressure, in blood pressure, literally. Someone in your family could be very stressed out at this time, so check in with your loved ones. Just advice, we all have free will. Do what you want. You don't get along with your family, that's cool. Hey, I get it. We all have complicated relationships, but it's coming up here. So something to be aware of. All right, let's keep going. Early cellular changes. Okay. Using single-cell gene expression analysis, Dr. Ladic, I'm going to call him Ladicola. Dr. Ladicola's team discovered that 3 brain cell types undergo molecular changes within 72 hours of hypertension onset in mice. Endothelial cells, which line blood vessels, aged prematurely with reduced energy metabolism and increased markers of cellular senescence. I don't know what this word means. This is a new word for me, so we're going to look that up. The state of growing old, decay by time. Ooh, that's a fun one. Senescence. State of growing old. State or process of aging, especially in humans, old age. Okay. Yeah, so this could be related to someone older. As we get older, we tend to have more health problems if we have not been taking care of ourselves. So, yeah, my inclination tends to think that this message is potentially targeted towards in someone who is older than you in your family or an older person in your family. I like that word though, senescence. That's really cool. State of growing old, decay by time. So reduced energy metabolism and increased markers of cellular senescence. So the cells are dying faster. There's increased evidence that the cells are dying faster. Yeah, aged prematurely with reduced energy. So not only are they feeling sluggish, they're also dying faster. The blood-brain barrier, which regulates nutrient flow and blocks harmful molecules, showed early signs of weakening. So there's like this energetic weakening, this weakening of defenses. Yeah, this is someone might be sick around you. I've definitely noticed that around me. I haven't really been sick lately, although my throat's been a little scratchy today. So I hope I am. I've been working out and stretching and eating well, and maybe not as well as I could, but well compared to how I used to eat years ago. And I've got my tea here. Um, Vanilla chai tea. It's very delicious. Okay, sorry, that was a little tangent there. Yeah, but there's something about like you need to shore up your defenses, or someone around you, close to you in a family scenario, or maybe just a really close friend or somebody that you live with, um, needs to focus on building up their health. Once again, not a doctor. This is just the message that's coming through. For anything related to health, always consult your doctor first. Um, Interneurons, which balance nerve signals in the brain, sustained damage that created an imbalance between excitatory and inhibitory signals similar to that observed in Alzheimer's disease. Oligodendrocytes, cells that produce myelin sheaths enabling neuron communications, failed to properly express genes responsible for their maintenance by day 42, when blood pressure had risen and cognitive impairment became apparent. Even more extensive gene expression changes had occurred. Wow. This is, I mean, hearing it explained in such a detailed way, it just really puts an emphasis on just how bad being stressed out and how bad having like consistent high hypertension, high blood pressure really like wears on your body. Like, and that, like, I mean, I'm sure you can think of someone you know, whether they're in your family or not, that lives this kind of lifestyle where they, they struggle with high blood pressure and they just don't seem to care. They just ignore it and they just eat what they want. They don't exercise regularly. It's just, they're just letting it wear them down. And just reading the specifics of this, that this is going on, like, I mean, by day 42, that's not very long. I mean, some people in my family I know have struggled with high blood pressure and being stressed out chronically for years. So this is only 42 days, and it's already talking about all this. Yeah, anyway, health is so important. All mental, physical, spiritual, it's all connected all the way up and down the stack. Get yourself in alignment. Once again, not a medical professional, consult your doctor, but it's worth looking into. Okay. I'm going to reread this part. By day 42, when blood pressure had risen and cognitive impairment became apparent, even more extensive gene expression changes had occurred. Patients with hypertension face a 1.2 to 1.5 fold higher risk of cognitive disorders than those without the condition, but many current blood pressure medications show little effect on brain function, suggesting damage occurs independently of elevated pressure. Yeah. So it seems the damage to the cognitive functioning occurs before the effects of like the classical effects that we are aware of. I'll call them classical, just things that we've been aware of for a while, even start to happen. So it's like it damages your cognitive functioning before any of that. Okay. So for this section, early cellular changes. So there is this idea of ignoring the problem, right? And just how quickly things can decay rapidly. Right? Senescence. I love that word. I'm gonna have to start using that more somehow, so I don't forget it. Um, but yeah, so well, one, the most obvious message here is don't ignore the warning signs of your body because things can go south very fast within a month. 42 days. That's like barely more than a month. So, yeah, pay attention to your body, y'all. For real. It's telling you things. Those aches, those pains that you have, they aren't just there for no reason. They're signals, they are warnings, they are messengers trying to get your attention, saying, hey, something's not right here, and you need to figure it out. And it's not easy. I struggled with stomach issues all of my life pretty much, and I still haven't even really figured out exactly what it is, but I have definitely found a form of diet that works really well for me and generally makes me feel good. So it might not be easy to address these things, but if you like living and you want to continue doing so in a healthy way, then don't ignore the signs. You gotta do the hard work. You gotta give it attention. And it's not like something that's gonna be solved overnight, right? These things take time and dedication and patience. You have to really love yourself. That's what it really is about. You have to really learn to love yourself and realize that you are worthy of living a healthy life. And though it may not be easy to change your habits, to reprogram yourself to do such a thing, and once again, I'm not preaching at you specifically. Like I said, this is probably most likely about somebody else, somebody that you know, somebody that you're close with in some way, part of your family or friend groups or something. But yeah, it's in my opinion, because I think life is wonderful and amazing and mysterious and surprising and all of the things that make it worth living, that it is worth it to pay attention to your health and to try to figure out what is going on so that you can have as many experiences as you desire to have in the time that you have in this realm, in this form that you have taken on. So, let's see what cards want to come out. I feel like I don't really need to say much else about this section, um, but we're going to see. Judgment, inner calling, yeah. Listen to the voice inside you, the signals inside you, your higher understanding, right? That's what this angel represents here. It's your higher faculties for not ignoring things. Judgment is literally like a warning call it can be considered that way. Um, it's a wake up call, right? It's a call to action. Like, this is the don't ignore it card. Do not ignore it. All right. We also have the Queen of Swords, composure. Yeah, this is the paying attention card. This is the listening, not speaking card. So listening to your body, using your intellect, swords, right, to listen to those internal warning signals, or helping others to understand, to be compassionate and listen to others. Like, if somebody's complaining about stuff, like chronically complaining, like they, every time you see them, they're like, "Oh, my back." Oh, maybe just gently encourage them to go get it looked at. Six of Wands, victory. Yeah, victory, right? I'm not saying success is assured in all cases of health issues, right? Because some are just wildly complex and maybe we don't have the capacity to figure them out in this span of human history. Some things are just like that. But if you give it the care and attention and listen, there is some form of victory that will be afforded because you're not ignoring it. And Five of Cups, absence. Yeah. So this is ignoring. This is focusing. This is like you're focusing on the pain and not listening to these signals and trying to figure out what they could be telling you, right? It's like all you can do is focus on the symptoms, but you're not trying to figure out what is the underlying cause of this state, right? The Five of Cups is like the depression card. It's like being stuck on, it's literally like focusing on the wrong things, and it's putting you in this state of like a vicious cycle of pain and emotional suffering because of the pain that you can't seem to get to go away. I mean, when my stomach would flare up and hurt really bad, like it was impossible to do anything else. It hurt so bad. Like, all I wanted to do was just lay down and like cry, right? So yeah, I mean, your physical sensations have a severe effect on your emotions, on all of you. It's all interlinked, up and down the stack. Physical, emotional, spiritual, mental, it is all tied together. So if you're ignoring the signs that your body's giving you, or somebody you know is doing that, then they're not just suffering physically, right? They're also suffering emotionally, spiritually, mentally, all of it. Whew. Okay. All right. One more section to go. Let's see what we get here. Potential treatment path. Yeah. Okay. So this is the addressing it part of the article. I love that. The study found that iosartan, or losartan, I think that's an I. This might be an L. We'll say losartan. An angiotensin receptor blocker already used to treat hypertension reversed early damage to endothelial cells and interneurons in the mouse model. In some human studies, the data suggests that the angiotensin receptor inhibitors may be more beneficial to cognitive health than other drugs that lower blood pressure, Dr. Laticola said. The research team is now investigating how premature aging of small blood vessels triggers defects in interneurons and oligodendrocytes, with the goal of developing strategies to prevent or reverse hypertension's cognitive effects. Yeah, so that's really cool. They are formulating a plan based on the observations they have made, right? And they are experiencing some level of success, right? As it said, this angiotensin receptor blocker, losartan, that is already being used to treat hypertension shows like promising signs of addressing this pre-hypertension brain damage, right? Or cognitive damage that can occur. which is great. Um, yeah. So once again, I mean, it's kind of the same mess. I don't think I really need to pull any different cards for that. It's the same message. It is, don't ignore it. Listen to the calls, listen to the warning bells, right? They're there for a reason. This is the wake up call, rooster. uh, all right, to close this out, I'm going to pull some archetypes, see if anything else wants to come through. But I think the message is very clear here, and it's a very simple one. Um, don't ignore health problems, whether that's your health problems or the people around you. If they are, chronically in pain or complaining about some condition, then, I mean, obviously they have to make their own decisions, but you can gently encourage them to pay attention, right? And every time they bring it up, you just bring up the same thing. You should go get that checked out. If you're tired of having the conversation, then that's how you shut it down, right? Just, you should go get that checked out and then move on to something else. Like, it's on them, right? We're all responsible for our own health. But, and I say that I realize there are conditions where people are dependent on others, right? Because they can't help themselves physically. Um, Obviously, those cases are different, but for the vast majority of people, especially people who struggle with hypertension, they can help themselves. They just have to choose to do it. Like, even if they go talk about it with a professional, like they should, um, they could still ignore their advice and continue to suffer, right? Because we have free will and we can do what we want. If they value, eating like a steak every night for the rest of their lives over extending the length of their life and the time they have on this plane of existence, that's their choice, you know? But when they, if they're constantly complaining about it, then, that can be kind of annoying because it's like, well, you know what the problem is. And yet you just continually complain about it and choose to do nothing to change the situation. Right? Like, yeah. It's like we're done with this. It can be hard. It can be hard to deal with that. Um yeah, unfortunately, you know, they have to want it. They have to want to change. And you can't make them do that, but you can gently encourage them. All right, so one card that fell out is the kiss. So obviously, this is an intimate card. It's about intimacy, things coming together. Like I said, this is a gentle thing, right? Um, the number 60, so the number 6, could be meaningful to you in some way at this time. That number was coming out in my moon planetary reading I did earlier today. So if you feel so inclined, check that video out. Uh, yeah, it's an intimate thing. Health is a very intimate thing, and like I said, it's hard to watch your loved ones, people you're close to who do struggle with these types of things, continue to ignore them because obviously it'll never change if they don't give it the attention, if they don't heed the call, right? All right, I'm just going to pull 2 more and then we'll close it out there. Yeah, on the bottom, we have the eternal child. So this is that idea of like youthfulness and health and joy and just living a very happy life because you are able to, because you are healthy. The number 4 coming through there, which to me is about the home, the body, the temple, right? And taking care of it and cultivating this energy of youth, right? I mean, what is being healthy other than being youthful, right? It's like, obviously, we all have our time on this earth, and eventually we all have to face death, right? But you can make the time that you do have more joyful by Listening to your body. Okay, let's see. The storm. Yeah. Yep. This card is kind of like a bit of an omen. It's like, it's a storm. Something destructive, something upsetting, something that's going to shake things up may happen regarding someone's health. Just be aware of that. Uh, it may or may not happen. We all have free will, so if somebody is on the verge of a storm and they start taking actions to take control of their health, then obviously they can avoid this. It's like, just if you're on a boat, don't sail into the storm, right? Go the other way, go around it if you can. It might be too late for some people. Everybody's on a different part of their journey. So, but this energy is present. So there is some kind of storm. It may be avoidable for some, it may not be for others, but the energy is there just to be aware of. And then the gem. Yeah. So, yeah, this is that idea of cutting through all the noise, right? All this noise surrounding this gem in the center to find the value. Because, like I said, finding that valuable information is not easy, right? Like I said, I'm still pretty confused about what exactly goes on with my stomach. I don't really know, but I have at least figured out a way to live with it. And I've gotten scans done and been to doctors, and none of them have been able to tell me what it is, right? It's crazy. And even um I have a friend who's a sonographer, and she actually did my sonography scans of my organs, and all of them look great. Like there's no signs of anything off about them, and yet I eat the wrong thing, and then everything just like inflames and hurts, and it's crazy. It's very confusing. So it can be difficult to find that valuable thing amidst all of the noise and confusion, but it's worth trying, right? It's worth listening to the call and searching for that thing, because, well, one thing we know for certain is you're most likely not going to find it if you don't search for it, right? You might stumble upon it by accident if you're just, if the universe is just like, you know what, you can just have it. I would say for most of us, that is not how it works. Maybe sometimes, maybe every once in a while, we get thrown a bone or a gem, but a lot of times you have to do the hard work of looking for it. You have to go on the treasure hunt, right? And that's part of being alive, right? That's part of the journey. Yeah, it's part of the mystery. Health problems are lessons, right? I really do believe that physical things are reflections of spiritual things, as above, so below, the Hermetic philosophy, as within, so without. So really, you can actually use these medical conditions to tell you something about yourself on a mental, spiritual, emotional level as well. Um, yeah, that is a very deep journey. One that, for me, following my stomach issue and trying to figure it out, it's still very confusing, and I understand it a lot better now, but I still don't really have a clear spiritual, emotional, physical understanding of what it is exactly. But I'm observing, I'm sitting back, I'm paying attention to the evidence, I'm trying to stay composed and balanced and just doing my best. And I know eventually that will lead me to some kind of victory, some kind of valuable information. Eventually I will get there. I will understand more every day as long as I give it attention and don't ignore it. So yeah, that is the message, and also really cool discovery in health science relating to hypertension. It seems like this could be a really good thing that can help a lot of people who do struggle with these types of health scenarios. All right. So, thank you so much for joining me today for this reading of Tarot the News. And yeah, if you have any thoughts or suggestions for articles you'd like me to do a reading on, put them in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, please like it. Um, as always, take care of yourselves and keep your heart open. Bye.